Hi, this is Mark from Tryb. Today I'd like to show you a game called Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of Venice from Triton Noir. Thanks for sending it for review. And Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of Venice is an adventure, cooperative, campaign-based game based on the well-known Assassin's Creed series of video games. In this game you will play as a group of assassins in 16th century Venice, trying to fight and plot against the evil Templars. In this game, assassins are the good ones and Templars are the bad ones, and you will try to complete different missions and stop Templars from doing bad things. This is an adventure game, campaign-based game. You have over 20 scenarios in it. It's for 1 to 4 players. You can of course play it solo by using two assassins. This game is huge. The box is huge. I had to lay down the box to fit it in the screen of this camera. This is the deluxe edition of this game. The deluxe edition of this game contains a lot of miniatures, over 140, if I am not mistaken. And there is also a retail edition of this game that replaces the miniatures with standees, but this is the beautiful full deluxe edition. You will see the components in a second when I will tell you how to play this game, and then we'll go back here and I will tell you my opinion on Brotherhood of Venice. This is Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of Venice prepared for play. This is not a specific scenario, more like an imaginary one. I want to show you how the game plays and what your assassins can do in this game, but this map setup here is just, you know, my an example one. It's not a specific scenario, so don't worry about spoilers. But there will be some spoilers because you will see some elements here on the table that you will unlock during the first few scenarios of the game, because the first 4 scenarios are tutorial scenarios that will teach you how to play the game and that will introduce new elements slowly so you can learn how to play it. So you will see some elements here. If you don't want to see anything, you will have to skip this section of the video and go to the part when I talk about my opinion on this game. But don't be afraid, all the spoilers will be minor here. So this is the map where you will move your assassins, where you will complete objectives, fight different guards, search for chests and do all the things that you do in a typical adventure game. Here you have your assassin boards. Each assassin has his own board. On this board you have place for different weapons, for armor, for inventory, for additional cards with different abilities of your assassins that you will gain during the game. If your assassin levels up, you will add specific cards and specific abilities to your board. You also have your headquarter board. I will talk about the headquarter board a little later because this is something that is introduced, I think, after the 4th scenario in this game. You get this campaign booklet, and this is a book that contains all the scenarios. This is a campaign-based game. It's divided into different, it's called sequences, different memories, and each, let me open, for example, some example memory. Each scenario memory tells you how to set up the board, what is your main objective, some story description, what is the purpose of this specific scenario, how to set up everything, what are your goals and what to do in this scenario. So you have to build your map according to this, and after you finish the scenario you have to turn to next page, and here you have the resolution, some rewards, and it will tell you what happened after you successfully completed all the objectives. All the tiles, there are a lot of different tiles that you will build your map from. The great part is that you don't have to use specific scenarios. The important thing is if this is like an indoor tile or water tile, or you have different street tiles or different roof tiles. You can use any of them. The important thing is to remember where the walls are located, because the tiles, sometimes they have no walls, like here. Sometimes you have one wall here. So you have to look at the map of a scenario, and you have to pick specific tiles. But if you have, for example, 2 tiles that have no walls, you can use either of them. So it's cool, it speeds up the setup. Sometimes you have even bigger tiles that have 4 sections. Sometimes you have even bigger tiles with 6 sections, but it looks really, really cool, and you can really feel the cities of Venice. If you have ever played Assassin's Creed video game, when you look at the map, it really reminds me of all the games, especially Assassin's Creed 2. So this is really, really cool. This scenario, the campaign booklet also tells you where to put enemies, where to put different elements of the game, like hiding spaces, ladders, I know, chests, enemies, and stuff like this. Fast travel stations. So what's next? You have your goal, you have your assassins, and the purpose of scenario is to complete a goal. If you look at your assassin board, let me show you one. Here you have the card of your assassin. Each assassin has got some specific skill that he or she can use during the scenario. You have space for your weapons. This is the hidden blade that you probably know from video games. Here I have a mace. You can have, I know, swords, different weapons that you will find during the game. Some weapon that allows you to attack from distance. Here I have throwing knives and some other inventory items that I can use during the game. Here is space for your life cubes. You start with 3, but you can get additional, for example, armor that will give you additional health points. And you also have your action cubes. You always have 3 action cubes. You can gain a 4th one if you decide to not use all your actions during your turn. You can save 1 cube for later use. You will put it here, so you will have the 4th action point. And action points are spent on performing different actions during the scenario. You have this cool player aid. Also, I forgot to tell you, when you pick a specific scenario, not pick, but if you are in a specific scenario, all the cards for the scenario for each scenario are put in envelopes. You have a lot of closed envelope in the game box, and you have to open a specific envelope, and you will take all the cards from there. You always have a card like this in each envelope, and it tells you what to do with all the cards that you will find in the envelope, where to put them, how to shuffle them with the remaining cards, and you get a player aid. So each turn of the game, first you have the event phase, where you will draw an event card, and the event card sometimes will help you during the turn and sometimes not, depending on it's a random event. Then you have your assassin phase, where you will spend your action cubes on performing different actions on the board. And then you have the enemy phase, where there will come new enemies. There is this reinforcement phase, then this movement phase, where enemies will move on the board, and then there is the combat phase, where enemies will be able to attack your assassins. Another major concept in this game is if you are incognito, like this, if your assassin has got this colored base, the color corresponds to your assassin card, it means you are incognito. So no one knows that you are on the street, the guards, they don't see you, and you can perform different actions. You are hidden, you can use your hidden blade to, kill and remove guards. But many times during the game you will perform detection tests when you, for example, come to a location where there are some guards, or when guards will move on the board and they will come to location when you are, you will have to perform a detection test, and if you fail the detection test, there are these red bases. You have to remove your base and put a red one, and you have to change the state of the guards to alerted state. And this is not something you would like to have, because when there is alert, guards will hunt you, guards will try to follow you, they will attack you, because if you are hidden they will not attack you, but when you are exposed they will try to get to you, they will try to attack you, and when there is this reinforcement phase, more guards will appear on the map. So this game is about stealth, about being hidden, and you should try to be incognito as long as you can. It's not always possible, but this should be your priority. So what you can do with your action cubes? You can move, of course, by spending one cube, you can move to another tile or another square on the board. You can trade with other assassins on your board. You can equip items. If there is a tower like this one, you can climb on top of the tower, just like in the video game. And when you are on the top of a tower, you can synchronize. It means that there is always, maybe not always, but there are some tower cards, and when you climb a tower, you can spend another action cube to synchronize. And then you have to reveal this card, and it will show you some hidden elements, some hidden chests that you will find, maybe some additional enemies, some bonuses that you will be able to acquire during the mission that are initially hidden, but when you climb the tower and synchronize, you will reveal those hidden bonuses. So you can climb towers, you can hide. If you have some hiding spaces, like sometimes like this one, or some cards printed on tiles, you can hide inside, so guards will not see you. You can attack, of course, use your equipment. Every equipment card shows you how many action cubes you need to spend, how many attack dice you will roll, and when you roll attack dice, this symbol means that you successfully hit the guard. This symbol means that you have triggered special ability of your weapon, and this symbol is bad for you because it means that you are exposed, you trigger the alarm, and now the guard will fight you back. So you should try to avoid this symbol. So basically, most action cost one action cube. So for example, if I'm here, I can move here because I came to a square where you have a guard. I will have to roll for detection. You use this die to do it, red dice. So this means nothing happened. If you have the eye, it means the guard has detected you, you are exposed, and the alarm is triggered. And this icon means that you will be only exposed if the alarm is triggered, because if you trigger the alarm to this red state, it means that the guards are alerted, but you can still try to hide and to become incognito again. So this means that you will be only exposed if the alarm is triggered. So if I spent one action die here, I came here, and now I can attack the guard. If I roll the hit symbol on my die, the guard will be killed. You have this enemy cards here that show you some special abilities for the enemies, but always show you how many attack die the enemy will roll on its turn and how many life points does an enemy have. So the basic enemies, they have only one life point, so one hit means that you killed the enemy. When the enemy is killed, you will have to lay him down. This is now a body. You can try to hide and search the body. If you search the body and hide, you can gain one equipment card. And in this equipment deck, you have a lot of cool equipment cards that will help you on your mission. If you don't hide bodies, if enemies come to a location where there is a body, they will also roll the detection die, just like if you are there, and then they can trigger the alarm, because you know, dead bodies laying on the floor are nothing really great, so the guard will be alerted. So you can use fast travel stations. If you have more of them on the board, you can travel between them, or you also use the fast travel stations to exit the map after you finish the objective, because after you finish the objective you have to hide. You also have this objective bases, and this means that, for example, here you have to spend 2 action cubes to complete this objective. If you do, you can take this token, and the token will give you some experience points. Also, some guards are put on this objective base, and it means they will not move and they will guard the objective. So usually, if you have these objectives bases and objective tokens, these are the places where you have to go during the missions to finish a scenario. If you have chests, you can open a chest. Opening a chest will give you some experience points as well, and you have this special chest deck. And if you open a chest, you take 1 card and you will gain some special item as well, just like searching through bodies, but the items in chests are usually more powerful. What do you have on the board? You have ladders, and ladders are used by guards to move around the board. There are some guards like this one. This is an agile guard, and this guard doesn't need a ladder to move around the map. But if you have a regular guard like the crossbowman can only go from streets to rooftop level or down if there is a ladder. If there is no ladder, the guard cannot go down from roof to the streets. But crossbowmen, they have crossbows, so they can attack not only on their square but also on adjacent squares. So after you do everything what you wanted, after you have spent all your action cubes, as I said before, you can try to save 1 action cube for later, and you put it in the special area on your assassin board. Then there is this enemy phase. So when there is enemy phase, first there is reinforcement, and you have a special deck of cards, enemy cards. You take the top one and you look at the card. And maybe you have noticed on the board sometimes you have the special tokens like B, C, A, and they correspond to spawn locations of the enemies. So if the alarm is not triggered, you will spawn 1 crossbowman in tile A, B and D. But if the alarm is triggered, more enemies will come. You have 2 crossbowmen, 1 agile guard, 2 crossbowmen here, 1 crossbowman here, so more enemies will appear. That's why you have to try not to trigger the alarm, and you have to try to stay incognito. So you have to add the enemies to this specific tiles, and then after you do, you have to move the enemies. One thing I forgot to tell you is that at the event phase, the first phase of every turn, you have to take the top event card and reveal it. And there is something always set on the card, like here you can immediately remove up to 4 bodies everywhere on this map. Do not draw any equipment cards. But this card, apart from a effect that will be available for this turn, like here you can hide bodies, it also shows you direction, like north, south, east and west. So now it's west, and it means that if this is the event card for this turn, when you have this movement phase of enemy phase, all the enemies will move west. So this enemy will go here, this enemy will go here, this enemy will not move because first there is a wall, but this enemy also will guard the objective. Also, if you are exposed and somewhere on the map is this red base, the enemies will first try to go there instead of going to the direction of the event card, because this means that there is something suspicious in a specific place of the map, and the enemies will try to, check it out. And after the movement phase of the enemies, there is this combat phase. Enemies, if they are in a location where your assassin is exposed, let's say this assassin is exposed, this enemy will roll the die. If it rolls this symbol, you get 1 wound. On the symbol, nothing happens. The more enemies are, the more dice they will roll, and you only have 3 or 4 life points at the beginning of the game, so you have to be really careful, and this game is not about running around and fighting with everyone. After that, the turn ends, you will have to reveal another event card, you will get back your action points, action cubes, and you will have next turn to perform different things. If you manage to finish the objectives, and if you manage to go back to the fast travel station, the scenario ends, you will gain rewards, you will gain some achievements, you will calculate the experience points that you gained during the game. You have a special place in this campaign booklet at the end of the booklet where you can where you should record all your achievements, how many experience points you gained, and you have this section here where you mark how many experience points in total you have, and at specific numbers you will advance to level 1, level 2, 3 and 4, and then your assassins will get new ability cards that they will be able to use, so you will level up your assassins. The last thing that I didn't tell you about is this headquarter, because between missions you have this section where you go to your headquarter. I will not explain everything, but basically this is the place where you will be able to heal your wounds, you will be able to buy new equipment, you will have blueprints, some cool equipment cards that you'll be able to create if you spend some specific basic equipment cards, and then if you do, you will get some special items like Leonardo's flying machine, for example. Here you have some contracts that you will be able to fulfill to level up your headquarters. So this is basically your base where you will be able to rest between missions, maybe buy some new equipment, maybe create new equipment from the blueprints, and then you will decide who goes to the next mission, because you have some helpers, like you can sometimes have the help of Ezio Auditore, the famous assassin from the video games. Sometimes you have some assassin apprentices that will help you. You have different things here that you will do between missions, and this is also cool because this is like another level of the game, another layer of the game where you can do different things and get prepared for another mission. So this is basically how the game plays. If you play solo, there are no rules changes. You have to use 2 assassins and that's it. You cannot play true solo with just 1 assassin. It will not make sense. I mean, in video games you are playing like a lone assassin, but in this game you have a lot of interaction between your characters. They have different abilities. They can use, for example, coordinated attack, so 2, 3, 4 assassins at the same time can attack guards on the same location, and you will have more dice. So having more assassins is very important here. So if you play solo, you have to use at least 2 assassins, but that's it, no other rule changes. So this is basically how you play Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of Venice. I know this is a lot. The game is not that complex in terms of rules, but the game is a little complex because there are a lot of things going on this map board, on the assassin board, on the headquarter board. But the cool thing is that the first 4 scenarios are tutorial scenarios, and they will introduce you to all the new things. So let's go to the summary. When I heard about Brotherhood of Venice, I was on one hand interested because I like cooperative adventure games. I also like the Assassin's Creed video game series. I didn't play the latest games from the series, the one in I think Greece, in Egypt, the Viking one, but I've played a lot of hours in the first 2 or 3 Assassin's Creed games, especially Assassin's Creed 2, that also took place in Italy, where you played as Ezio Auditore, the famous assassin. I've played a lot of hours. I spent a lot of hours playing the video games, so I was very interested in this game. But on the other hand, I have to say that video games based on board games based on video games are not always perfect, and sometimes you can think that someone made a board game only to make money from the IP, famous IP, and the board game is mediocre, and they wanted to only make this game to sell it to the fans of the, let's say, video game. But luckily, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of Venice is a really great adventure stealth cooperative game, and I've played a lot of adventure games, a lot of dungeon crawler games where you have campaign and scenarios and miniatures, so I know what I'm saying. And believe me, this one is really fun. It's extremely well made. I have to say that I'm really surprised how well they managed to copy a lot of crucial elements from the video game in the board game. Because Assassin's Creed, the video game, is about you play as assassin, a hidden killing machine that is able to infiltrate castles and houses of Templars, and it's like a ninja, invisible. And they managed to do it here, because this is not a game where you have to fight, where you have to kill 50 enemies per scenario. It's not a zombicide type of game. It's a game based about stealth, and the most important thing in this game is to stay hidden, and this is really well made, because you have the states where you are exposed or you are incognito, and you have to stay incognito. You have to use all the hiding places in order to sneak on your enemies, to sometimes kill enemies, hide the bodies, and be invisible. And it's more important to complete all the objectives of a scenario than to fight and kill your enemies. So this is really well made, and a lot of things taken from the video game are here. You have the towers where you can climb. You can synchronize the tower, a tower, to reveal hidden chests and hidden things on the game board. You can climb on roofs, you can stay in water, you can, I don't know, hide in the carts full of hay. It's really well made. You have your headquarters where you can hide in between missions. You can seek help of assassin apprentices. You can find help from Ezio Auditore, the famous assassin. You have courtesans that can help you. A lot of things that, if you play the video game and if you like the video game, especially I think Assassin's Creed 2, when you set up this game here and you read the rulebook and you play the first few scenarios that introduce all the elements, because the four scenarios, the first 4 scenarios in this game are tutorial scenarios, you will sit and you will smile to yourself, because a lot of things will be very similar, and the look of the board, the enemies, the assassins, the hidden blades. You can hide somewhere and you can use your hidden blades to eliminate enemies. Then you can hide the bodies, and then you can jump on the roof, and you have a lot of a few assassins in the same location. You can have make a coordinated attack where 2 or 3 assassins attack the guards together. It's really well made. You have smoke bombs, you have the equipment known from the video games. It's really well made, and the scenarios are not too long. I think you can finish one scenario in about hour and a half. They are not really big and huge on your table. In between missions you have this headquarters, and this is another cool element of this game, because in the headquarters you can heal your wooden assassins, you can create new equipment from the blueprints, and you can get new equipment, you can fulfill contracts to level up your headquarter, and this is like your base. And this is also fun because it's like a small game within a game. You spend some time in the headquarters, you send different people to do different tasks. It's really fun and really well made. I like the idea of, I told you before, of the tutorial that is like hidden within the game. To be honest, to start playing the game, you only have to read 3 or 4 pages from the rulebook, and then you can start playing. And then when the game introduces new mechanic or mechanism or new element, it sends you to a specific chapter in the rulebook that you have to read to understand what's going on, but you don't have to learn everything before you start playing. As for the game, there are 2 expansions, I think. One is called Rome, and the other is Tokyo. The Tokyo takes place in the future. They are available on the Triton Noir website, so you can get them if you like. What else? To be honest, I don't see anything, any disadvantages of this game, only advantages, and I have really a lot of fun playing the game. All the things you do in this game make sense. They are true to the video game. Of course, if you played the video game, you will have maybe more fun playing this board game, because you will find a lot of similarities between the board game and the video game. You will find some characters that were present in the video game, and this is really fun. A lot of Easter eggs for the video game fans. But if you are not a fan of Assassin's Creed video game, I mean you haven't played it, this game is a standalone game. It's a fun game about assassins trying to perform different missions in 16th century Venice. It's not a this game has story, of course, but it's not a story heavy game. You don't get a thick book of story of paragraphs. Every mission has some introductions. When you accomplish a mission, you have some summary at the end, but that's it probably. So you don't need to know by heart Assassin's Creed video games. It's a separate game. It's really well made. It's a cool adventure game, and I can really recommend this game to you. I haven't finished the campaign. I've played about 5 scenarios from the whole set of 20 scenarios, but I have a lot of fun, and it's really to be honest, I can't wait to play another scenario. It's so nice and so good. You can see my photos of this game on my Instagram, on my Twitter and Facebook. There's also a short unboxing video, so if you are interested in unboxings and you want to see what's inside this box, this huge box, you can watch this video on my Instagram. And thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, click the like button if you like this video, and see you next time. Thank you, bye bye.